Today we're out here at Laguna Seca with a 2023 Porsche 718 Cayman GT4 RS owned by Michael, who's done a few mods including front and rear camber plates, DSC controller, tie rods, and toe links, 19-inch Apex EC7 RS wheels wrapped in Hoosier Track Attack Pros in a 265 section with front and 305 in the rear, and full mod list as always is down in the description. Shout out to Lightspeed Track Events, use code JABAL for $25 off your next event. Wait a second, there are no cars. That's because we are heading out for this session halfway through. We're only gonna have about 10 minutes behind the wheel. Pulling up to the homie Alex right now, the MVP.
It's me, homie.
Is it you?
Yeah.
Hi. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a gap.
Giving us a gap, so hopefully no traffic. Oh, just hearing that earliest hint of what this engine is gonna do has me excited, because finally the 718 Cayman has a proper GT3 engine mated to Porsche's latest 7-speed PDK, which is razor sharp, and I have actually reviewed a GT4 RS on track previously, which you can find linked below as well. Alright, first lap, let's see what the car can do. Approaching here, turn 1 over the crest. I actually lift because I'm thinking, wait a second, this isn't my Miata, I'm carrying so much more speed here. The car can't do it flat out, which we'll do in subsequent laps. And the sharpness in the front end is so surgically precise. It is a couple notches higher than even a regular 718 GT4. You can find that review at Sonoma, linked below. All of the inputs here are calibrated so well. The steering actually has feedback even though it's E-Pass. Brakes are aftermarket AP racing brakes, and they actually feel really excellent, very firm. Having to put a little bit of correction there, you have to remember we have strut in all 4 corners. Now, I'm not driving past 7/10ths on this lap, and even still, there are times when you see me having to correct, because that rear strut suspension does frequently make the Cayman chassis feel a bit unsettled. You can see more of that in the regular 718. Over here, it's not quite as apparent when you're driving 7 or even 8/10ths. On this first lap, going quite gingerly, really driving below the limit here. Oh man, but every time you bring it out to redline, the way the sound changes, the immediacy of that PDK, just faultless. Sublime. 139.2. Now this car can actually do a 131 on this track. So we are 8 seconds off the pace right now. Let's see if we can drive that down a little bit. And we have a red C7 Corvette in front. Let's see if we can catch it. Not off to a good start, already braking way too conservatively. A few micro corrections there into turn 3. We're already half a tenth up compared to the last lap. And not even halfway through the lap. Really love the confidence that modern Porsche GT cars give you. And we have this 992 GT3 behind us that we're going to let pass right after 6. V-min quite low at 73, lifting off to let the 992 pass. Now 992 versus GT4 RS. The 992 GT3 is actually an easier car to drive. They have the double wishbone in the front, the multi-link in the rear, and the Cayman, you know, ostensibly it's because of packaging constraints why they couldn't put multi-link or double wishbone in the car, and they had to do strut front and rear. But that is part of the reason why the GT4 RS is a bit more challenging to drive and may feel a little bit snappy. Again, you guys are going to see a lot more of that in that Sonoma video, because I was able to spend more time with the car and push it a bit harder on a track that I felt more comfortable with. Whereas here, I'm still not even pushing past 7/10ths, at least not here on this lap. But the thing with the GT4 RS and the Cayman platform overall is that by having that mid-engine balance, it feels at least more willing to rotate and turn in, rather. Whereas with the 911 GT3, you sometimes get the sense it doesn't want to rotate with that engine hanging off the rear end, even if it still does move forward a bit by bit each generation. And you see here, getting a little bit of that instability on braking. We got a lot more of that in the yellow GT4 with the mods here, and also just being a GT4 RS. Not quite as severe. We are starting to push the car a little bit harder now. You have to be patient getting on throttle as well because you don't want the car to start pushing mid-corner. Giving a point by to this 991.2 GT3 RS. Beautiful car. Absolutely adore those. So between the GT3 and the GT4 RS, pros and cons, right? Again, the mid-engine balance versus the not strut suspension. And the GT3s that I've driven actually do feel a little bit easier and more approachable to drive. GT4 RSs in the hands of a skilled and experienced driver that is comfortable with the platform can actually be comparable, but it's a bit more of a learning curve to get there, I would say. And cresting over turn 1, disappointed to say that I still lifted. As you can see, the speed dropped to 123. And it's not necessary, but you know, it's not my car. I want to be conservative. I'm still getting used to the car as well. But yes, with the right line, you can definitely go over turn 1 flat out in this car, no issue. See, you're having to correct because the car, again, the strut suspension, even when you're pushing at 7.5 or 8/10, it can give you a bit of understeer, and then if you push it past that point, get a little bit of oversteer, and also on braking, you can get a little bit of instability at the rear. These are all subtle things driving at this level right now, but if you start pushing it harder to 9/10 or 9.5/10 or 10/10, then yes, you are going to notice more of that strut suspension limitation. Very courteous getting off the driving line there. It's nice having 500 horsepower to actually propel you towards corkscrew, as I cry my Miata, barely increasing the speed at all with my 181 horsepower. Got on the throttle a bit early and aggressive. Tail came out, had to correct, but luckily the steering here is plenty communicative. The chassis is plenty communicative, so not an issue correcting when the tail does step out. Also not using the full track. Driving this still more conservatively. But we're still more than a second up from the prior laps, or rather the prior best. Again, slight correction. You can see the traction control light also kicking in. 137.7, still 6 seconds off the pace, but starting to get a little bit more comfortable with the car. Now, compared to some other cars, and definitely some other Porsches, I find myself not warming up to this car and feeling as comfortable with it as quickly as I would with other vehicles. And I think, again, a big part of that is that you can't really trust the rear end with the strut suspension limitations. That contact patch is not going to be as constant throughout the suspension travel, and also when you start getting some lean to the car as you load it up in the corner. Now, you can drive around that, and you can go way faster than what I'm doing here. This is absolutely not a fast lap by any means, but it just shows you that it takes time to warm up to the car. And by owning the car, then of course you're going to get enough seat time to warm up to it, but this just shows you that it is a car that requires more time and more patience, and you have to drive around it in a way more so than some other cars. Some great etiquette today, getting off the driving line here in advanced group, making way. Again, a little bit of correction there. Not the fastest way around, but I'll take it. Here in turn 9, being quite conservative, giving the mirror tap to indicate that I see the guy behind. That GT3 RS, giving the point by. And cool down lap. Now, just like you guys, I am so grateful that Porsche has finally put a proper GT3 engine, naturally aspirated 9,000 RPM redline in the Cayman platform. And the Cayman platform is really phenomenal. With that mid-engine balance, you still have the amazing modern inputs that you get in modern day GT cars, with the amazing steering, with great feedback, great precision, great accuracy on the front end. Even though it's E-Pass, the PDK is utterly flawless, instant, super smooth shifts, and it's more just a matter of what is your driving style, what kind of car do you want. I do feel that the GT4 RS would make for a car that would be very rewarding for an owner, because as you grow with the car and get used to it and evolve with it, you can really see your own driving skill and time really improve. Whereas with some other cars, they can almost feel like they're so easy to drive that they're actually driving for you, and you definitely don't get that sense with the GT4 RS. But once you're driving past 6/10, then it does start showing how you have to drive around that strut suspension. But again, guys, this was a very slow lap, not my best driving. We're at a 137.7. That was my trying to get my Apple Watch timer to stop. That was my timer to do the cooldown lap and come in to make sure that the owner had time for his next session. And again, big shout out to the owner, Michael, for letting me review his GT4 RS out here at Laguna Seca. If you want your car reviewed, visit us on jabalandcars.com. Fill out the form on the homepage. Much love, my friends, and I'll see you all in that next one.
What do you think?
It's awesome.
You were dicing it up pretty good with some of those GT3s.
I didn't want to hold them back, so I let a lot of them pass by, but I got one clean-ish lap. I still could have probably got another 1.5 seconds off, but it's interesting how it wants to understeer if you get on the throttle too early, and then if you get past the point of trying to push the car, it'll actually really kick and snap a bit. So it's a great car, man.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is because of the strut suspension.
Especially in the rear,
Yeah, for sure.
Because the Caymans and the 911s before all had strut front, and you just have to manage the weight in the front, but the rear kind of like snappiness, I think it's more of a Cayman thing than a 911 thing.
I think so. Yeah.
Dude, thanks so much.
Right on, man. Thanks.